Hey, how's it going, everybody? I did not mean to start the recording. I'm not set up yet. All right, now we're set up. What are we going to do? Let's go to King James. And he said to them, how is it that ye do not understand? And he cometh to Bethsaida, and they bring a blind man unto him, and besought him to touch him. Remember, all of these healings are parallels of how he heals his sheep today. Jesus said only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He did not come for the whole world. That's the biggest psychological operation in all of religion of mankind today, along with free will and God loving everybody. And so anyway, how is it that you do not understand? He comes to Bethsaida, bring a blind man to him. So he gives us eyes to see and ears to hear. The hearing eye and the seeing ear. The seeing eye and the hearing ear, even the Lord have made both of them. I believe that's Proverbs 20:12. And in the 7 letters to the 7 churches, which are basically they were real letters for that time, but they are parables. And they end with anybody that have an ear, let them hear. The same with parables. Anybody have an ear, let them hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Anyone with an ear that I gave you is exactly what the whole context is. But the Bible isn't spelled out in perfection. It's not meant to be understood by goats or lost sheep. And he took the blind man by the hand and he led him out of the town. Exactly what he does with all of us today. He takes us by the hand. And when he had spit in his eyes, he put his hands upon him and he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. After that, he put his hands again on his eyes and he made him look up, and he was restored and saw every man clearly. And he set him on his way to his house. Neither go into the town or tell anybody in the town. And Jesus went out and his disciples into the towns. So he gave that man who was blind eyes to see. And the Lord began that process in me in 2012 on April 13th. And it really came to hold as far as understanding the truth in his word by the spring of 2017. And we just learn a little more each day or each month or each year. And Jesus went out with his disciples to the towns of Caesarea Philippi. And by the way, he asked the disciples, saying unto them, whom do men say that I am? They answered, John the Baptist. Some say Elias, and others one of the prophets. And he saith unto them, but whom do you say that I am? And Peter said, you are the Christ. And he charged them that they should tell no man of him. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and the scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. Let's finish Revelation 12. 13 actually would put us into, to finish the column properly, I would do 13:1. But when we get into Revelation 13, it is completely different. That is your deadly wound in 666 chapter. It is Antichrist centric. And I want to make sure that I begin with verse 1 with y'all tomorrow in Friday's study. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the church, the woman, which brought forth the man child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for times, and half a dividing time from the face of the serpent. So they say there's like 2.5 years for the reign of the Antichrist. And now it's saying there's like 2.5 years of what? I don't understand. There's one thing I don't understand in the Bible. It's probably, or in the book of Revelation, it's probably this verse. And because we're well into the wrath of God, but chapter 12 veers off and starts telling the story. And Revelation again repeats the same story over and over. But this chapter 12 is very specific, though it does show the church being removed. No, not in this one, it doesn't. But they are protected in the wilderness. And I was telling y'all earlier when we came across this in Revelation that it was right in the middle of the wrath of God. I mean, verses before it and after it. So let's look up the word wilderness. Let's go to Blue Letter. Okay, and we come on down here. You see, it's always been in the Bible, all throughout the Bible. We're going to come here to the very end of Revelation. Well, the very last section where it's in the Bible. Um, 12:6, 12:14, 73. Okay. Hang on, I'll bring it up. So anyway, the times and half of a dividing time that we got down here in 14 is 1,260 days. Well, up here, it was 1,203 square days, so 1,206. So it's the same thing. You're getting the same amount of time. And that's supposed to be the time that the Antichrist is reigning. A woman fled into the wilderness. Let me check something else too. So, abomination of desolation, you that be in Judea, flee to the mountains. And if we go back to wilderness, let me go back and see. Hang on. And when you key in wilderness, it's solitary, it's lonely, it's desolate, it's uninhabited. Used of places like a desert, wilderness, deserted places, lonely regions, uncultivated region, fit for pasture. Used of persons deserted by others, deprived of the aid and protection of others, especially of friends, acquaintances, a flock deserted by the shepherd, of a woman neglected by her husband. Literally, what this could be saying. But she is nourished. The church is being nourished, being taken care of. So that doesn't work. See, I feel like the church is protected from the wrath, but obviously not from the Antichrist, because the Antichrist and the persecution is for the church. We know that, from Revelation 6 or 7, where it's talking about the souls of them. How much longer should we wait until justice? And they're like, until the rest of y'all, just like y'all, that need to be killed in the great tribulation. That's for the church, clearly stated in Daniel 11:35 and Daniel 12:10, that the church is for. I mean, that the great tribulation is for the church, that it should be cleansed and robes made white and so forth. And we know from Acts 14:22 that we all through much tribulation enter the kingdom. So you have to sit here and you have to be like, I know that the remnant is awakened of the bloodline. And they were keeping the Torah. They knew not Jesus. And per Romans 11:25, their eyes are opened. And could it be that they just are automatically, well, we know that they automatically become sheep because their eyes are opened in the truth and they know Jesus now. Could the remnant supernaturally be removed and taken to a place, bodies and all, supernaturally, to where they don't suffer the great tribulation, like the non-bloodline is suffering to be cleansed, that they're already cleansed because they were keeping the Torah, which we don't have to keep. Sheep don't have to keep the Torah. And you're like, well, they're lost sheep keeping the Torah. They're lost sheep keeping the Torah, but when they're found, since they were keeping the Torah, they're his remnant, they're his bloodline, they're his Jewish bloodline. Could they then be kept from the Great Tribulation? I don't know. That's interesting. Or is it the bloodline and all called sheep? Called sheep could be those that have already, that don't need to die during the Great Tribulation or suffer death at the hands of the demonic humans that are possessed. That's what the mark of the beast is. They become possessed. They have superhuman strength. They are superheroes. So, or, have superhero type abilities. Anyway, sorry about all that. Just thinking out loud. I'm not real sure. So I love to let y'all know when I'm not sure, because sometimes it seems like, well, I just think I know everything. No, I always let y'all know I don't know everything. I will tell you, this Bible study gives more truth than any other out there, but we still don't know everything. Anyway, and if y'all can find me somebody that teaches election, predestination, no free will, God doesn't love everybody, he only came for his sheep, hell is not eternal torment, just that alone, show me anybody that's teaching that. Because I know the guy Jim Brown at Grace and Truth Ministries, he teaches election and predestination amazingly, along with another thing we believe, which you can throw into the pair that I already stated and make it a threesome. It's a spiritual baptism. It's no longer a water baptism, and Jim teaches that properly. But my goodness, he's off on so many things. He doesn't understand demons are real. He doesn't understand hell. He calls it a eternal, complete separation of God. Nope. You don't get eternal life either way. A good way or a bad way of eternal. No. That's pathetic. And there he is. There's just a lot he doesn't know, especially the book of Revelation or the end times. Anyway, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood, and the woman that might cause her to be carried away by the flood. Well, she's in the wilderness, the church is being nourished. And then comes a flood while they're sort of safe being nourished, and the earth helped the woman. Okay. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So you follow what I'm saying? I'm not real sure what all this is. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. See, I think that's the remnant, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. See, they were keeping the Torah, but they didn't know Jesus. But when they're awakened, their blindness is lifted. And if you're saying, what blindness? Well, when I gave you Romans 11:25, you should have wrote that down, right? Because you want to look that up. I want to tell you what I want you to do for homework. I want you to, from my TS Daily Bible Study channel, I want you to go to playlist. I want you to scroll down. Scroll down to Romans 11 study. It's a lot of scrolling. So, you know, on the computer, it's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows, 5 rows, 6 rows, 7 rows, 8 rows, 9. It's like on the 9th row. And I'm going to put it in the description of this video. The description is right below. Okay, it'll be right down in here. It'll be right below the video. So anyway, yeah, I'll put it in the description for you. So Romans 11:25, but that Romans 11 study will tell you the whole chapter. But for I would not, brethren, that ye be so ignorant of this mystery. It's a mystery. I've never seen this taught properly by anybody else. Lest you be so wise, not even Jim Brown, who teaches election predestination, blood baptism, God doesn't love everybody, Christmas is pagan, all that. But there's so much he doesn't teach properly, and he doesn't teach this properly. Lest ye be so wise in your own conceits. That blindness in part has happened to Israel, the bloodline, until the fullness of the, now fullness, that means the complete number of the non-bloodline be come in or brought to Christ. Both take place at the abomination of desolation. Gentiles or non-bloodline sheep first, then the remnant of her seed, or the remnant or the bloodline, then is awakened. And see this word blindness, it's lifted. That's what that verse is. So make sure you watch that study. I showed you where to find it, and it will be in the description of this video. I want you to do it's two video series, but part 2 is just really short. Just something I'd forgotten and left off. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.